Hey YouTubers, alright, so I'm gonna do something I don't think I've ever done. A lot of you guys have seen my shop in random videos in the background, but I'm gonna go through and do a shop tour. I've had a lot of changes here in the last couple days. Most notably, I just got this guy. But I'm gonna kind of like walk you through since I'm kind of rearranging everything in order to get the mill in here. I had to take everything and push it all to one side of the shop, which it was a total disaster. And so I'm going to kind of show some of the DIY projects I've done. I built some of these machines. I purchased some of these machines. And so overall, I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown. I started probably a couple years ago, and the only thing I had was this Craftsman drill press. Now, I was given this thing for free by my brother-in-law. He was going to throw it away, and I said, oh, I would definitely take this. It's a nice piece of vintage craftsmanship. And then, after that, oh, what was the next thing I got? This is what started it all. I bought this Lincoln welder. It's a MIG-Pack 10. This is 120 volt welder, and I think I paid 300 and some bucks for this guy, and it has been a workhorse. This has kind of totally opened a whole world for me. Before this, I was a woodworker, and I used to make things out of wood. Speaking of things made out of wood, we just recently moved my parents to assisted living, and this is a workbench I made. It was so big, I built it upside down, and I couldn't turn it over. So when my dad got home from work, he tipped it up on its feet. So this thing, I'm 37 years old now, and this is a piece of history. And I recently, when we were moving my parents to assisted living, we kind of went through their house, and it's finally back in my shop. So that's a piece that I built ages ago. So I now have it. It's mine, and we'll just kind of work our way around the shop. This down here, I also got that from my dad. When I was a little kid, I'd go out to the shop, and if there were any piece of metal I could find, I'd go to that grinder and I'd sharpen it and I'd make some type of weapon. Most of them, almost all of them sucked. But yeah, that's the first grinder I ever used down there. And this grinder here, let's see, Tool Shop. What is that? Harbor Freight? I think that's a Harbor Freight brand, or is that a Menards brand? I don't know. Either way, that's decent. You know, I've had that for years. It works great. It's never let me down. It did have like the guard on both sides. I took it off and I switched to a buffing wheel. So that's nice. My dad picked this up at a garage sale. He gave me that. The scroll saw. This is a Lee reloading press. It's kind of unrelated to the channel now that I don't do a lot of gun content anymore, because YouTube will kick me off and delete my channel. And that's totally not related to pew-pews at all. Anyways, so this table, it used to be a laser engraving machine, and I salvaged it. I chopped the top off, and recently, a couple months ago, in order to make space, I cut it in half and put casters on it. So now that thing is on wheels. I've got a video on this guy right here. Oh my, I cannot describe how well that works. The key I've found is the 1-inch tube. The massive surface area really allows that thing to remove moisture like way better than I thought it ever would. I was skeptical when I built that, but let me just tell you, when I run the plasma table, which we'll get to that soon, it releases a crazy amount of steam because it has a water table. And so this whole place gets really damp, and that sucks all the water out. I have 2 additional filters that filtered down to 0.01 microns, and there's so little moisture in the air that those don't catch anything after it goes through this. So that's you gotta have one of those if you're gonna do plasma cutting. This guy right here, the PorterCable, 155 psi, 3.7 horsepower, 60-gallon tank. I picked this up at Tractor Supply. It was like $80 off. It was on like clearance. They don't sell this one at Tractor Supply anymore. But I absolutely love this thing. When I first fired it up, it was a little bit loud, but it's kind of, the motor's kind of broken in, and now it's a lot quieter. So that's also a workhorse. It's a great one. If you have an opportunity to get one of those, it's worth every penny. This is the very first Bex Armory Grinder. Now, I still have plans for this on my website. If anybody wants to build a grinder, $4.99. You can get all the plans, every single piece, part, whatever. I also have a playlist on YouTube that shows most of it, but those drawings on the videos are a little bit outdated. So the goal for this was I wanted to develop a grinder that anybody could build at any skill level with a tape measure and a drill press or a hand drill and an angle grinder, and that is this grinder. You do not have to have you don't have to weld anything, you don't have to have, special fancy tools. We're talking every single plate on here is a stock bar size. So this is a stock bar size that you just cut with an angle grinder and you put the holes in. This is actually a bar size you can buy, and you just cut the end off. So you're not, on all of these things, you're not cutting more than like one thing, right? You're just chopping bars to length and putting holes in it for the entire build. So that's what makes that so easy for anybody to do. And it is rock solid. That's 2-inch by 2-inch solid steel. I mean, this is like one of those lifetime grinders that, is going to outlast multiple generations. Okay, it's rock solid. The VFD Invertec. Yeah! Anyways, I'm a big fan of the Invertec drives. I mean, if you want to know if they're good, Alex Steele runs one on his personal grinder, so that should tell you just about all you need to know. This is an IP20 version. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, that thing's going to fry, you're going to get metal dust in it, and it's been over a year, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but yeah, it's still kicking. So I've blown it out like 2 times in the last year. So the thing is, it sucks air in from the bottom and blows it out the top. So the dust does not settle in it because it's circulating the air through it. So and the heavy metal dust most of the time is too heavy to get sucked through. I don't know. Either way, that or it's got coatings inside, but the thing's rock solid. Never failed me, and it's still kicking like it's brand new. I've got some remote switches hooked up here. So I got on, off, forward, reverse, and then the potentiometer. The Grizzly Press. So I picked this up from Grizzly. I don't know if they're still selling this or not. For a while, they discontinued it. And probably one of the reasons they discontinued it is if you actually max it out to its full capacity, you will bend this thing right there. So it's not even strong enough to hold its rated power. But, I'm not going to complain too much about it. Overall, I do love it. I've used it a ton. I've had to modify the handle because the original one leaked because there's no way to tighten it down. And the original seals that came with it were totally junk, so I had to put new O-rings in it. And I kind of left a 3 out of 5 review on Grizzly's website, and they totally deleted it because they wanted to be able to say only 5 out of 5 on all of their reviews. So if you leave them a review on their tools that's less than 5, there's a good chance they'll delete it. So that's just a little something you need to know about Grizzly as a company. There's a reason they only have 5-star reviews. They delete all the non-5 stars. So, well, at least they deleted mine. I don't want to say they delete all of them. There might be some on there, but mine's not there. Little wood burner here. Love that thing. Keeps me warm in the winter. The Grizzly G0704. I totally drank the Kool-Aid. I got one of those, and you know what? It's a decent mill, but it's for a hobbyist, right? I've run way too much stuff on that thing. The gears internally are plastic, and I just totally shredded all the gears inside. So it's what I had to do. I had to go with a belt drive. Now, I went the other way. Some guys, you know, they try to get to like 5,000 RPMs and turn it into a CNC. Look, this thing is not rigid enough to be a CNC. Don't waste your money turning one of these into a CNC. This is a drill press that can do a tiny bit of milling if you use small end mills. I, you know, boneheaded move, ran 2-inch shell cutters, and, you know, it's pretty worn out. But I tightened up the Gibbs, you know, moved it back and forth. It's not totally worn out, but it doesn't hold a candle to that, and it never will. So just know, I do not recommend people turning these into a CNC. This is great for small milling projects. I still use this. I just literally just made like 60 tracking devices on this mill in the last 2 weeks. So it still rocks. I mean, it's still a good mill, right? But long term, I need something that's going to be a lot more capable. So I'm going to sell this once I get power for that. It's 3-phase. But overall, it's been good to me. It's gotten me a lot of you know, decent projects out the door, and it's definitely paid for itself. I'll give it that. So it's definitely paid for itself. Now, this video, it's going to be going. This is going to be a long video, so hang with me. Or not, whatever. The Kennedy Toolbox there, I picked that up just after high school. When I graduated high school, I was working for a medical device company, and one of the machinists wanted to upgrade, so he sold me that for $60. Probably one of the best deals I've ever picked up, other than this guy right here. Like I told you before, that was free from my brother-in-law. Nice vintage Craftsman. Still use that. Pretty nice. So this guy right here, this is a Wade 8A from the 1940s. This was actually on a boat in World War II. I was told this by a guy from the Wade Historical Society, because I didn't know what this thing was, because there's no markings on it, right? Like, you look everywhere, and all the nameplates are gone. This thing here just says start and stop. That handle used to be there, but recently, you know, somebody has updated it with a new motor. But anyways, I was looking it up, trying to figure out what it was. And the guy said, that is a Wade 8A. And he said, look at the serial number. It should be in the 400s, right? Well, if you look at the serial number, I don't know if you can see that. Try to focus it. D110. So, it turns out, during the war, they made some of these for the war effort, and they started at, you know, 1 and counted up on the serial numbers. So instead of having a like a civilian 400 something serial number, this one has the D, and then it's, you know, however many they made. And then they put these on, like, you know, boats to, you know, do maintenance and stuff like that. And then afterwards, you know, they got put back in the civilian population and somebody bought it. Now, this thing right here is like super rare. I guess this was a special order item for the Wade 8A lathes, which is, I love it, because it basically turns it into like a horizontal drill press. So I think it's really nice. It's great for like drilling holes. You don't have to crank and go really slow, and you can really feel how much pressure. You know how, like, on a drill press, you know, when you're pulling down the handle, you can feel it, right? Same thing here. When I'm pressing in on here and I'm drilling a hole, there's just something about, like, the manual machining of metal that you can feel, you know, and you hear it, you feel it, like, you know that you got the right pressure and the right speed and all that. Where I feel like some of that times you lose a little bit of that with the crank handle. So I like this thing a lot. I had to, this workbench here used to come all the way to here until a couple days ago. And then I chopped it way down, pushed that here instead of where it used to be. And then this is my Granite Surface. I use that for measuring. I recently built this in my last year. I needed more space, and I know they say avoid horizontal spaces, but the problem is this whole area of the shop was just full of junk, right? And I couldn't get to these cabinets because there was stuff sitting out to like here. So this really helped me get organized. Over here I got the miter saw. I got this back when we were first married. I did a lot of home remodeling because I had a super, super old, like, really trashed house. And eventually, after about 9 years, we moved out here. So that, I did a lot of remodeling, woodworking, and that kind of stuff. This is just all the Bex Armory inventory. We got a couple forages, getting ready to ship out some more BA shredders. Sorry to get back to what I was talking about. Then the Langmuir Systems Crossfire Pro. This is a whole video in its own self, and I've done lots of videos. I'm going to do more. Overall, it's a CNC plasma table. It's pretty nice. It's got some pros and cons, which, you know, I don't want to talk too much about that because, you know, it would take a whole video in itself. I'll do more videos on that. The welding table here, I built. I don't know how long I've had it. It's been a couple years. Rock solid 2x2 1/4-inch tubing. I've got plans for this on the website if you want to build one and you don't have to like figure out all the measurements. I've got all those measurements already in a plan set. The only thing that's not in the plan set is the tank holder. That was an after the fact add-on, and the little shelf here that I used to put my abrasive cutoff saw, but now it holds my CK Worldwide MT200 AC/DC. I have wanted a TIG welder forever. I finally got one. I love this thing. This thing, it's probably the best TIG welder I've ever used. It's a big, big bang for your buck. So if you're looking for a TIG welder, definitely give this guy a chance. Just recently upgraded with a clear Furic cup. Pretty excited about that. Definitely, and a gas lens instead of just a collet. So pretty excited about that. And then I've got my Hitachi abrasive cutoff saw, and I switched to a diamond blade. And then I've got the Harbor Freight anvil. I'm not a huge knife maker. I've made probably, I don't know, I make like 1 or 2 knives a year for like gifts. And then last but not least, my pride and joy, my knee mill. Just picked this up. This was a steal of a lifetime. It's unbelievable how good of a deal I got on this. It has boxways, no dovetails there. So it's got boxways with the Turkite slideways. Now it does have dovetails here, but it also has the Turkite slideways. It's got the oiler. It's got the DRO. It's got power feed. It's 3 horsepower, 10 by, what is this, 10 by 50 something on the table. So I am really, really pumped about this. I've got to get a VFD so we can power it up. It's 3 horsepower, 3-phase. So we're going to be getting that up and running. So guys, overall, this is my shop. And I don't know. We're going to see where life takes us. I'm trying to start, you know, I've been trying to start my own company, Bex Armory. Well, I guess I've started it years and years ago, but it's finally really starting to take off, which has kept me ridiculously busy. So I'm trying to balance Bex Armory with family life, you know, wife, 2 kids. But this is one of my happy places that I like to come and hang out. And I will be continuing to bring you guys more videos, and so we can all hang out here in my shop. If you have any questions about any of the tools, or, you know, whatever, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. It's been great hanging out, guys. Hope you all have a great evening. See you later.